Hello, and thank you for joining us for e-commerce juggling made easy. First, some quick webinar housekeeping. Everyone is set on mute, so if you have any questions, please submit them via the questions box, and we'll try to answer everyone's questions during the presentation, but if we aren't able to get to your question, we'll follow up after the webinar. And always feel free to submit questions at any time. You'll also receive an email in the next day or so with a link to the recording in case you missed something and you want to watch it again or you want to share it with a colleague. Finally, we encourage you to join us on social media during the webinar. We'll tweet using the hashtag #ecommercejuggling, so you can follow at Webgility and at Right Networks on Twitter. Here's our agenda for today. First, we'll do some quick introductions, and then we'll dive into our tips for making you a master at e-commerce juggling. We'll talk about why you need to be selling online, how to integrate and streamline all the pieces and parts of your e-commerce business, and how you can harness all of that data. Then we'll cover how running your business in the cloud can improve collaboration and protect your business. We'll conclude with a customer case study, and we'll also make sure to save some time for QA at the end. All right, it's time for some introductions. My name is Allegra Mitchell, and I am the Customer Success Manager here at Webgility, and I've been with Webgility for about 5 years. I manage our tech support, onboarding, and account management teams and work directly with the product and engineering teams to ensure that our product suite is delivering the best features for e-commerce, small, medium-sized businesses and e-commerce businesses. With me today is Kevin Rusa from Right Networks. Welcome, Kevin.
Thanks, Allegra. And hey guys, my name is Kevin Rusa. I'm the Director of Sales with Right Networks. Coming up on actually my 8th year with the company, so have quite a bit of experience in the accounting, tech field, and industry altogether, and have really enjoyed watching firms and small businesses leverage our cloud solution to grow their business and become more successful. So it's a pleasure to be here, and I want to thank Allegra and the entire Webgility team, awesome partners of ours, and we have a big pool of happy mutual customers, so it's great to be here.
Thank you so much, Kevin, and thank you for that wonderful introduction. So a little bit about Webgility. Our goal is to always stay ahead of your business. Our solutions provide you with a smarter way to run your e-commerce business. Our flagship software, Unify Enterprise, connects your online store, accounting software, CRM, and more to help you streamline your operations, increase efficiency, improve collaboration, and gain strategic financial insights. We are compatible with more than 70 e-commerce platforms, including Magento, Shopify, BigCommerce, Amazon, and eBay. And we also connect to all versions of QuickBooks, NetSuite, and Xero. We're also a Right Network strategic partner, and we have many customers hosting Unify Enterprise and Right Networks in the cloud. So Kevin, why don't you tell us a little bit about Right Networks?
Sure. We were founded back in 2002, and we're actually headquartered in Hudson, New Hampshire, so about 45 minutes north of Boston is where our corporate headquarters is. We're the world-leading provider of fully managed application hosting for specifically accounting firms and small to medium businesses. So our niche application happens to be QuickBooks in the cloud. It's a large percentage of our customers and really is our core product that we started hosting. And small businesses and accounting firms really try to leverage the cloud to basically provide anywhere, anytime access to their financial data and make sure it's stored in a place. We have 24/7 live US-based technical support via phone and email with a 98% customer satisfaction rating, which is exactly the same as Webgility's, which is awesome. Support's definitely a differentiator for us and a really big benefit to the offering altogether. So we do this on a very large scale. We host for roughly 80,000 end users globally there. Some are overseas, a lot consisting within the United States, so we do this on a very large scale and are very experienced with it. And then in addition to QuickBooks, we do host 400 roughly add-on applications, much like the Unify Enterprise product by Webgility, CRM solutions, tax software, so it doesn't just stop with QuickBooks. There's a whole lot of applications you can add onto your hosted network. And we house our data in 2 world-class Tier 4 data centers located right in America, one on the West Coast and one on the left coast, and I'll talk a little bit more about those facilities later on. So thanks, Ladra.
Thank you, Kevin, for that. So when you registered for this webinar, we asked if you were selling online. About 20% of you said that you were not selling online. I have to be direct. I think you're missing out on a huge opportunity. You know, the reason why you're missing out on this opportunity is because you need to be where your customers are, and your customers are online. Selling online allows you to reach a global audience. For example, according to the Forrester research, 44% of total retail sales will be impacted by the web in 2016, for a total of $1.7 trillion in offline sales influenced by the web. We also, we used to just talk about multi-channel businesses. That is, companies selling on, let's say, online plus a brick-and-mortar store, or on their own and on Amazon. Today, you need to be what is called omni-channel, which is a step beyond multi-channel. It means giving your customers a seamless experience and consistent messaging, no matter whether they're shopping on your retail store, browsing on your website on their laptop, or seeing your Facebook ad on their phone. If you truly provide an omni-channel experience, you can stay ahead of the game. One side effect of this omni-channel world is that customers are doing a lot of showrooming. And showrooming is when you see a product in the store and then you buy it online. I know most of you do that. I do that too. And if you're not selling online, you're really missing out on that sale. Conversely, customers are now web rooming. And web rooming is when you research a product online and then you go back to the brick and mortar store for a final evaluation and purchase. I actually do the same thing too all the time. And another benefit of selling online is the flexibility it gives you in your inventory. You're no longer limited to the square footage of your retail store. You can carry more products, more sizes, colors, and variants online. And you can also use an online store to experiment with new products before committing to selling it in your brick and mortar store. A final e-commerce consideration is where you put your business online. In addition to your own web store, there are also marketplaces such as Amazon and eBay and Etsy that also give you a really good platform for selling your products. If you're interested in learning more about the pros and cons of the different channels, we actually had a webinar last year with a colleague, with the collegiate apparel retailers Pennington and Bales about adding channels to your business, which you can watch on demand at wagility.com/webinars. So, what benefits will your business see from going online? This is a great question. First, you'll get better visibility and a larger audience, which can exponentially increase the scale of your business. E-commerce has a lot lower overhead than brick and mortar, so when you put all of that together, you get increased revenue, which, of course, is what every business is looking for. I wanted to tell you about a customer of ours that actually saved their business by going online. This is a customer called Wedding Collectibles, and this is a 30-year-old family business that started out as a wholesaler of cake toppers and other wedding accessories. They're an industry leader and have their products in stores like Hallmark and Michaels, as well as smaller retailers across the country. Now, about 10 years ago, a lot of their retailers started closing. And in 2004, Wedding Collectibles got close to going out of business. The owner's daughter, Carla, decided to start a website and take the business online instead of being exclusively wholesale. Now, if you fast forward today, they have 2 stores on Amazon, an eBay store, 2 Xcart stores, 3 Etsy shops, and a 4th one ready to launch, and a Shopify store. And they're experiencing about a 97% in annual growth. So by going online, Carla not only saved their business, but grew it to quite an empire. Now, if you want to learn more about wedding collectibles, we did have a webinar with them last year, and you can also watch that on demand at webgility.com/webinar. Now, we're going to have a quick poll at this time, and here's the poll here. And so this is, we know that businesses are using tons of apps and tons of tools to run their business. So how many tools are you using? Think about communication like email and chat and accounting, CRM, your store, marketing, shipping, office suites, and social media. And, just want to let you know, the average business uses 20 apps per day. So let's see what your business is like. All right, so we've just closed the poll. Okay, so I see about 63% of you are using between 1 and 5. That's really good. And of course, we've got 20% of you have between 6 and 10. 10% of you have between 11 and 20. No one has over 21, but 7% of you have too many to count. So this is a very interesting poll, and thank you for your responses. So now, all of those separate systems, because you have separate systems, I'm seeing that's what a lot of you have. I know that that's a lot of things to juggle. You need to make sure that all the data in those systems, your orders and products, customers, etc., is accurate and up to date in your stores and your accounting software, and even if you're using CRM in that interface as well. If your systems aren't integrated, you're going to be manually entering every order in QuickBooks, manually adding products to your various stores and QuickBooks, as well as manually copying information to your shipping software. And I'm sure you're all too busy for all that manual work. It's not fun. And not to mention, manual work is prone to errors. Plus, if you sell the same product on multiple channels, you have to worry about overselling if your inventory isn't properly synced. And amidst all of this, you do want to make sure that your accounting software is accurate so you can stay tax compliant. And I know many of you are here today are bookkeepers and accountants, so you certainly want your clients' QuickBooks company files to be up to date and accurate. So what happens when you integrate key applications and streamline your business? For one, it helps you optimize your operations so you can scale. And scaling is a big part of, you can save time and money so you can focus on growing and scaling your business. So you won't be constantly worrying that your QuickBooks is out of date or that your inventory in your online store is inaccurate. You can provide faster, better customer service. You can easily add new stores without the dread of manually adding all of your products. You won't have to worry about angry customers leaving negative reviews because you accidentally oversold an item, which is extreme danger zone here. And you can also make better decisions to grow your business. And this is the benefits of integration and scaling. We actually have a customer that my team has worked with in the past called Honeybee Gardens, who sells eco-friendly cosmetics. Now, when their business took off, they couldn't keep up with the orders. This is not being able to keep up with the orders is kind of a good problem to have, but it presents an operational challenge here. It took about 5 minutes to process each order, and those minutes added up quickly. They also couldn't keep track of their inventory across channels. And then they integrated their online store with QuickBooks Enterprise and Unify Enterprise and found that they could reallocate 2 full-time employees off data entry. Now, with their inventory integrated, they can now plan ahead, restock quickly to avoid overselling. Honeybee Gardens makes a lot of their business decisions using the reports in QuickBooks Enterprise, and it is essential for them that their QuickBooks company file be accurate and up to date. They can now manage and optimize their business more effectively because their reports are always up to date and accurate. Now, speaking of correct data, when you combine all of your business data together, you really have a lot of powerful information in one place. And so you can't let all of that data go to waste. When you combine your order, product, and customer data together, you can use financial reports and analytics to get a holistic view of your business and make those strategic decisions. So you probably heard of, these nice industry lingo called, KPI, analytics, business intelligence, BI for short. While, this is definitely business jargon, what they mean for you is that you can combine all of your business data together to make smarter decisions. You can figure out which products are most popular and, most importantly, most profitable. You can also target your best customers as well. Even better, you can uncover hidden revenue within all of that. One metric that we think is important is average order value, or AOV. Average order value is the total collected from a customer per order, weeding out unrelated amounts like taxes, marketplaces fees, or, and always making sure to account for item prices, shipping revenue, and any discounts. AOV helps you better plan discounts and shipping fees, and it allows you to track the value and returning customers and make revenue projections. Another important metric is returning versus new customers. Most small to medium-sized e-commerce businesses should aim for about a 60-40 split. This metric can help you understand several things. You can figure out the value of what an average new customer brings to your business over the lifetime of your relationship, and you can also spot the need for more interactions with repeat customers, as well as determine areas that you can comfortably spend more to acquire on new customers. Remember, it's cheaper to market to your current customers. There's also contribution amount by customer. This is the amount of money after variable costs that each customer generates towards your fixed cost or bottom line. This helps you determine your most valuable customers and how much they're contributing to your business. You can also segment these customers for special marketing to see if you can get them to spend even more. Customer loyalty is extremely important when selling online and being an effective business online. If you want to learn more about e-commerce KPIs, there are some great articles by our Director of Product and Operations, Rob McGrody, on the website e-commerce bites. So just go to ecommercebites.com and search Webgility to find them. In order to make these strategic decisions, everyone needs access to your systems, and that's where cloud collaboration comes in. Now we're going to take some time to do another poll and talk about cloud solutions. So where are you running your business? Are you using all local computers on a network and servers within a network? Are you using a hosted cloud solution like Right Networks? If you're on a local network, have you been thinking about moving to the cloud? Is this starting to, the increase in collaboration and the need for that, is that starting to become, a challenge that you need to overcome? Maybe you've, run into some challenges in, when using your local network that have made you consider a hosted solution. All right, so, where are you running it? What's going on? All right, take a little bit more time. All right, we're going to close the poll. All right, so I see a lot of you are currently in a hosted cloud solution. Very good. I also see a small percentage of you guys using, you're on a local network, and you're also, 15% of you are also on a local network, but you're considering a hosted cloud solution. That's great. Now that now I'm going to turn it over to Kevin, who's going to tell us more about working together within the cloud. So this is for everyone who is on the local networks, and also this pertains to people who are on a hosted solution, and maybe you can learn how or get some tips on how to, communicate and collaborate more effectively. I'll turn it over to you, Kevin.
Awesome. Thanks, Allegra. And guys, those are really impressive numbers. The fact that a large percentage of you guys has already migrated to a hosted cloud solution is very, very impressive. So you're really on kind of the bleeding edge of the industry by adopting the cloud and therefore trying it out and getting your business up there and getting moving. And I like to see a lot of you guys are also thinking about it, so very exciting. And now we're going to talk about connect, share, and collaborate in the cloud as a whole. So a couple of items here, increasing productivity and reducing costs by migrating to the cloud can really streamline and grow any small business or firm. So a couple of key aspects here. The first one being grant any user a seat under the virtual big top. When a business is actually leveraging the cloud, it's really incredibly easy to grant any individual or end user access to their business critical applications in a very timely fashion. So if a small business gets a new employee, it's relatively quick and painless to get them up and running, or if an accounting firm gets a new client and wants them to immediately have access and they want to log into their data right away, it's very easy to get these people up and running, and it's not a very painful process like it used to be in the past. Next up is work simultaneously in the same files. So, with users able to access files simultaneously from anywhere, productivity for a small business is really elevated to a whole new level. Users are able to collaborate and work together from completely separate locations within the same application, and sometimes within the exact same file. So the simultaneous access is really a huge benefit. Next one, gain better business intelligence with anytime, anywhere access to your data. So companies are really now able to acquire much more business intelligence by accessing the top-rated apps in their industry instantly from anywhere. So it's really data and power right at your fingertips. And then the last one, which we're going to dive into more on the next slide, is worry less about software updates and infrastructure maintenance and costs. So a lot of people don't think about this as a good aspect or a benefit of the cloud. It kind of gets overlooked. But when you're accessing a cloud-based environment, the technology basically becomes transparent to the end user. So they're no longer required to run their own updates and upgrades as the system is fully managed for them. And that's really our goal as a cloud hosting provider, which leads us into our next slide here, reduce hassles and costs. So you really want to rely on a fully managed infrastructure on which your data and applications run. So with an environment like that, again, all the IT day-to-day responsibilities are removed from the business itself. These items can include anything from network maintenance, security, backups, application updates and upgrades, etc. So there's a million things that can take a business owner off of their focus on growing their company and dealing with those painful technology issues that pop up very frequently or every once in a while. No longer have to install or maintain software in your local machine, again, because all your business critical applications and data are now existing in a separate cloud-based environment. Maintenance on actual local computers in the office is significant, or in some cases totally removed. We have a good portion of customers that really just use thin clients, and they're basically kind of just dumb terminals that allow them to access into our environment, and nothing is stored locally anymore. They don't have any programs on their local system or don't risk losing any of their data locally because it's all in a cloud-based environment that they can get to. Managed environment where your security, updates, backups, and maintenance are handled by experts. So let the folks who specialize in technology, let us take care of all your maintenance needs so that you can focus on growing your business, becoming more successful, and again, not have to exhaust any internal resources on those mundane IT hassles, which brings us to our last point. We want you guys just to be able to log in and focus directly on your work. So now we're going to touch a little bit about the security, and I think a lot of folks that haven't moved to the cloud are having difficulty wrapping their head around the security of the cloud. It's almost one of those things, if you can't see your data, you don't know where it is, and it can really make people nervous about migrating to the cloud. So we're going to touch on some of this stuff here. So we want to protect your business with cloud security. So again, I mentioned earlier, 2 state-of-the-art Tier 4 data centers. So these data centers are actually geographically near each other from across the country. One is located on the East Coast and one is located on the West Coast. So there is an education piece when we're discussing the cloud with new customers and new clients to kind of let them know and to kind of show them that, you know, your data just isn't sitting here in Hudson, New Hampshire in our corporate headquarters. It's actually going to state-of-the-art, top-of-the-line facilities that this is all they specialize in, and this is exactly what they focus on. So a couple items with that: encrypted communication, firewalls, and backups. These things nowadays are really standard practices for every reputable cloud provider. Should have all these in place. So these are things that might not have been common in the past, and all things that should be expected out of a cloud provider now. So another one there is data replication is also very important. You know, when cloud providers are duplicating data to multiple locations, it really should ease the end user's mind in regards to accessibility to those data centers. If one were to go down for whatever reason, your data is sitting in a separate location that you can easily access so you can get your work done. So you're never dead in the water there. Multi-layer access controls. This one's kind of speaks for itself. You should make sure the facility is as secure as possible, and access is very limited to a certain amount of individuals. So some of the data centers that we utilize have biometric scanning and key shuffling systems and armed guards and all kinds of really intense security protocol, which really kind of just limits the access to only exclusive personnel that should be getting to these areas and around sensitive, obviously, financial data in this case. Enterprise class reliability on an end-to-end clustered, highly available infrastructure. That is a mouthful, and what that really means is you want to make sure, you know, when utilizing a cloud provider, that the infrastructure has no single point of failure. You want to be assured that downtimes can really be avoided, and that there's always a failover plan, so to speak, for every piece of hardware. Redundancy is really key to a successful cloud offering, and one of the biggest fears that people have is not being able to access their data once they put it up in the so-called cloud. So moving on, this is a slide that we love to show. So this is kind of going back to that education piece. A lot of folks will look at that left side there where the data is stored, and because it might be maybe geographically close to them or right next to their desk or a foot away, and then at the end of the day, they back up their data, they put it on a USB drive, they go home, they put it in their nightstand right next to where they sleep, and they think that is the safest place for their data to be, within arm's reach of them. And obviously, that's really not the case. You know, in today's world, with all kinds of things going on with, you know, just security protocols for data and where data should really be stored, and you know, audit information and things like that, you really want to make sure it's in a top-of-the-line facility like you have on the right there. So again, these are exactly what these folks specialize in, and their whole livelihood is making sure data is safe and secure, as opposed to the left side there. So it's just kind of a funny slide we like to use. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about backups, guys. Obviously, backups are important to any small business and or accounting firm. You know, the first one's pretty obvious: the risk, loss, productivity if your PC crashes or fails. So this has probably happened to most of us in one time or another. Your PC failed, you lost, you know, something you were working on or a file. It's a very common occurrence. So if that happens, how am I set up currently? You know, if I'm locally now, are my backups available? Are they recent? And how accessible are they? How quickly can I get back up and running if something happens right now in my local office where everything crashes? how do I get going again? Am I going to be completely stuck, or am I going to be able to keep working and keep my business running? Next one is also another obvious one. Prevent loss from natural disasters and extreme weather. So there are many locations where natural disasters and extreme weather are not that rare, and you need to make sure that a cloud provider, if you're utilizing one, has a current plan in place if something catastrophic, God forbid, were to take place. So again, kind of going back to geographical locations and bouncing users or end users from one data center to another if there was a catastrophic incident. And then another one that's very common is recovering deleted files. So this has all happened to probably most of us or a coworker, but many times, employees, or clients can accidentally delete a much needed file. So with a proper backup system, this really shouldn't be a problem, and deleted files should be able to be restored in a very short amount of time to reduce the impact of productivity. So when working with a cloud provider, feel free to request their backup policy, because you want to know not only that they're doing them, but that they can be restored very easily, maybe how often they're doing them. Are they doing them nightly? They should be doing them nightly. Are they doing them weekly? Are they doing them monthly? And then how long are they holding on to those backups? Is it 30 days? Is it 60 days? Is it 90 days? What's a comfortable time frame for you as a business owner to know that your data is being backed up and existing in their systems? So really interesting and very important stuff there. Awesome. So now we're going to talk a little bit about a case study that a customer that we worked with, actually Supporting Strategies. They're a very large partner of ours, and they specialize in outsourced bookkeeping services. So really interesting business model, which really has allowed them to grow and, again, leverage our system and scale at a phenomenal rate. So really explosive growth for them over the past few years. And they actually had a specific customer that they were able to have the Unify Enterprise product really work well for in our hosted environment. So this is a mutual client that really almost changed, or really did change, the whole focus of their business and really streamline all their processes to make them so much more successful. So it's a really good story. And the client was actually, they had an online e-commerce business that actually promoted parents, the ability to capture moments in time for their kids using stickers and or like graphics. So really cool stuff. Had an online store. When they started working with Supporting Strategies, Supporting Strategies thought they should recommend the Unify Enterprise product to the customer when they first started, because they noticed that they really needed, or had a real need, to streamline their orders coming in through the client's website. So the solution that Supporting Strategies was really proposing and thinking about was streamlining their business operations and improve collaboration by hosting the Unify Enterprise product by Webgility and QuickBooks Enterprise all within the Right Network's hosted cloud environment. So you have multiple pieces all existing in one place that's very simple and easy to get to, that helps you run your business more efficiently. So for the bookkeeper, it was the Supporting Strategies employee, it was important to find a solution that was adaptable to new products, because they seamlessly needed it to integrate with QuickBooks, as the client was always frequently expanding their product line. So the Unify Enterprise product was able to automatically add new products to QuickBooks to alleviate the amount of work for the bookkeeper and the client. So that led to the aha moment that we have on here, which was the ability to sync and transfer products from an online store to QuickBooks with one click. So that was the power of the Unify Enterprise product. It really allowed the client to collect and track orders received through their website or their e-commerce site, while the bookkeeper is able to easily download transactions into QuickBooks. So the results of that obviously were easy remote access and collaboration. So as everything is existing in Right Networks, all parties could access it very easily. It also streamlined their business operations with the Unify Enterprise product in the cloud. It immediately reduced overhead with a remote bookkeeper who can log in and now access their files without interrupting the client's workflow. And then it improved business intelligence, because they have instant data and very high visibility into their business right at their fingertips at all times. So we thought this was a really good example of how to basically utilize and leverage industry products like Right Networks, as well as the Unified Enterprise product by WebGility, to really streamline and completely give a business a full facelift, so they're really we're much more efficient going forward there. So we thought this was a really good story to kind of highlight for you guys. There was a quote from Leslie that I was just going to touch on, that this is the owner from Supporting Strategies, and she basically just said, moving to Right Networks, secure anytime, anywhere solution has really reduced their expenses and supported our explosive growth over the years, and it continues to be the right solution for our company. So I just want to give Leslie a shout out and thank her for her wonderful quote there.
Thank you, Kevin. This is really, really interesting, and thank you for showing us, really talking about, just hosting, the security. I actually learned some new things about, especially about the backup. That was really cool. So thank you for showing us that. All right, everyone. Thank you. All right, everyone. We're moving on to the Q&A section here. And I actually see we have some really, really great questions already. So keep them coming. Don't worry. If we aren't able to answer your question, we'll follow up after the webinar. So one of our first questions here is, I'm not currently selling online, but I've been thinking about it. Do you recommend starting with my own store or with Amazon? My honest recommendation, and this is actually how I started learning e-commerce, I actually learned e-commerce from selling on a marketplace. And I think marketplaces are great because it's an environment, it's very cloistered, but it's also a great environment to get your feet wet and allow you to understand operationally what's needed to be a successful seller online. So once you have a good handle on your operations and how you're dealing with quantity, how you're dealing with taxes in your state, how you're dealing with resourcing in terms of how many resources in terms of people do you need to have within your operations to fill all the orders that you're getting. Once you've overcome those operational challenges, I really do think you'll have a good handle on your operations, and it'll be a great time for you to create an independent website for your products and go multi-channel. So that was a really great question there. We also have another question. I think this may be for Kevin. They say, I'm a current Right Networks customer. What do I have to do to add WebGility to my hosted desktop?
Oh, yeah, great question. So we do have a division at Right Networks, basically a full department called the Account Services Department, and they really manage all add-on applications and additional services folks are looking to add on to their account. So if they reach out to account services at rightnetworks.com, let them know they're interested in utilizing the Unified Enterprise product on our systems, and they can go ahead and add it on there for you.
Awesome. Thank you for that answer. So I have another question from Jay. We're a manufacturer, and we have to keep track of parts inventory as well. Does Unified Enterprise offer bundling to help with inventory? Now, my question to you would be, well, how are your parts and pieces structured within your QuickBooks company file? Are they structured as assembly items, or are they structured as group items? Those two item types have similar but different functionality, but the answer is yes. We are able to kind of lock into, the different parts and pieces, and if you set up your products as assembly items, you will of course be able to make a bill of materials for that. If they're set up as a group item, you essentially want to be able to manage inventory through the individual parts and pieces. Kind of the foundation of that really comes from how you're structuring your products within QuickBooks itself, but once they're structured in a particular way, we can map them to how the products manifest within the online store, and then you can begin to synchronize quantity and really maintain quantity, so you at least know how many of the final products you can build based on the amount of individual pieces you have. Great question. Thank you, Jay. And also, we do have an onboarding team. So our onboarding team, they're really, really good at what they do. We have a lot of product specialists. They've seen a lot of integrations. We have inventory specialists on our team as well. So they'll be able to help you out with the mapping and also give you recommendations and show you how to structure particular products, either assembly or group items within your company file, so Unify Enterprise can work seamlessly along with the structure of your inventory. And I got a question from Margaret. I think this question may be for you, Kevin. Her question is, what about security and hacking in the cloud? I'm nervous about trusting a cloud-based business. Very good question.
Yeah. Absolutely, great question. Something we get all the time. So good question, Margaret. You know, when a customer comes to us and they're a little bit nervous about the cloud and security, we really want to take the time to kind of highlight the resources and really the things that we have invested in our security and our data center. So a lot of that stuff comes with really documentation on do we pass all the certifications out there? You know, the CPA has put things into place in terms of data storage that, you know, you really need to be certified on all these appropriate levels and really provide pure documentation that, you know, shows your encryption levels, your backup policy, you know, where those backups are stored. And like she said, the hacker stuff, we're all secure socket layer certified. So I think it just comes with a pretty much in-depth education piece where we walk clients through all the steps we've really taken from a security perspective to really show them there is no safer place to store your data. So we love to provide that and are very transparent with all that documentation too. So that's something that really just comes from educating where the data is, what steps we've taken to really make it sure it's in the most secure place it can be.
Thank you, Kevin. What a great answer to that question. And I think it's a hallmark of every hosted or cloud solution business to address that question. And, you know, I really appreciate, and I've always felt very secure about Right Networks, but understanding how you keep your data and the measures that you take to keep that data safe. You know, personally for me, you know, I feel that is a very, very reassuring information coming from Right Network. So thank you, Kevin.
No problem.
I got another question here. It's from Mike. We're going to kind of change gears here and go into the business intelligence type of question here. Mike is asking, what are some good e-commerce reports to run in QuickBooks? This is a great question. We know QuickBooks is the master inventory of all of your data, all of your inventory data, your accounting data. And so, you know, I've got a list of some reports that are really good for you to run either monthly or weekly just to see how you're doing. And also let's remember that a lot of the reporting in QuickBooks itself is coming from an accounting perspective. So you are going to have to modify certain reports to kind of give your reporting the insights to help you grow or help you see different things in the e-commerce realm. So you are going to have to do a little bit of working of these reports and preparation of these reports so it can continuously give you the information you need. For example, a P&L with sales channels organized by class. This is the type of data that needs to be maintained and structured and set up within QuickBooks. So once you have that set up, different classes per email channel, you can run that report weekly or monthly. Another really good report is inventory stock status by item. And you can utilize this to auto-create purchase orders based on reorder points within QuickBooks. Another one is AR, accounts receivable aging summary. This keeps track of who owes you money. So that's a very essential report to have, especially if you're working with vendors and manufacturers who send you product or who are maybe doing third-party fulfillment for you. Another one is item profitability. Profitability for each SKU by date. And these are the kind of reports that are kind of getting into utilizing accounting information to give you insight as to how your e-commerce business is doing. So item profitability, this is super good. This is also kind of going into that AOV metric that I was talking about earlier. Also, another report is sales by item summary. And you can do this by getting the gross margin by date range, average cost, and percentage of sales by each SKU. So these are reports that are kind of inherently accounting based, but they give you insight and kind of that business intelligence as to what's happening in your e-commerce area. So great question, Mike. Thank you. I have, and also there's also a full list on our our website. We are platform agnostic in terms of e-commerce platforms that we integrate with. So you can utilize and I also know that a lot of e-commerce platforms have some of those metrics inherently within their system. So you can actually use a combination of these reports and within QuickBooks and the reporting that you get within your e-commerce channel to give you a good picture of what's happening globally. So we have, do we have another question here? Let's see. Oh, here's a question for you. I think this one's good for you, Kevin. I use a Mac. Can I still host?
Oh, good question. Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of confusion around Mac users and the PC version of QuickBooks. I think that can throw people off from time to time. So just to clarify, our system is Windows-based, all our servers are Windows-based, and you're accessing the PC version of QuickBooks. However, you 100% can access directly from a Mac. So you really just need to utilize the Microsoft Remote Desktop protocol from your Mac, which is a really quick, probably about a 30-second install. And when you actually install it, it gives you a little shortcut icon on the desktop that then you double-click and literally access the same way that Windows PCs do. So last time we looked, I think we had an overwhelming, we're up to about 35% of our users were actually Mac. So tens of thousands of users have found to access the PC version of QuickBooks, which is much more robust than the Mac version, but still be able to utilize their Mac while they're doing so. So great question, and is 100% supported on the system.
Great, thank you. And dovetailing on what what Kevin was talking about, our product Unify Enterprise is also a PC-based software, and the Right Networks environment is essentially a PC environment. So this is also another thing to note that if you're going to be on a Mac and let's say you want to try Unify Enterprise, you should definitely have the Right Networks environment ready to go in order for you to either try or utilize our product within your business. And let's see, do we have any other questions? I'm looking here. We have a question from Stephen. This is a rather long one and more involved. So we've got several moving parts within this question. We're selling online with Amazon and we're adding e-commerce to our website. Sounds good. We're using Right Networks and have QuickBooks in the cloud. We use EDI and we're working with QuickBooks Integrator to streamline this process. Is there a single app that connects all of these platforms, and is that Webgility? This is kind of an operation in scale. So I'm assuming that you're utilizing EDI to quickly receive inventory within your accounting system, and if you have an EDI tool and you're already putting that inventory within your QuickBooks company file at a very, very fast pace, I would say continue with that. Now, you can certainly utilize Unify Enterprise to, as soon as it can actually detect when you are getting new inventory, when inventory is changing, and it can synchronize that inventory and push that up to your stores automatically. So this is kind of how our product can work with operationally within an entire fulfillment process. So kind of in this situation, you're going to be using several apps because different apps give you what you need. But kind of at the core of it, if all of those apps are kind of feeding information into one place, our product can take all that information from, let's say, QuickBooks, and especially like quantity and things, and put that onto the online channels. And if you have multiple channels, we can do that as well. Let's see, do I have any other questions? Let's see. I have another question. This is from John. What are all the types of systems that Unify Enterprise connect to? This is a great question. First, we connect to more than 70 e-commerce platforms. We also connect to all the different versions of QuickBooks, the desktop versions, as well as NetSuite. You can also connect to Salesforce if you're doing that to keep your CRM data updated, and MailChimp so you can do targeted email marketing. And you can also put in your payment processor fees. So as you can see, there are a lot of applications you could even utilize with our product. You know, I don't think moving away from using a bunch of applications is necessarily the goal here, but if you can have the strategic applications, no matter how many there are, there could be 5, there could be 6, that are not only giving you insight as to what's going on, the business intelligence, and also helping your operations streamline so you can scale, I think that is the kind of, you know, that's the kind of applications you definitely want to be using. You don't want to have any applications that are just kind of hanging out and, you know, you're utilizing them because you've always utilized them. You really want to make sure all the applications that you're using in your operations are beneficial to what you're doing. So it's a great question. I have another question from Margaret. I have QuickBooks Online. Does that work with Webgility? Do I need right networks for this? This is actually a very good question. So since you're using QuickBooks Online, we actually have a cloud product called Unify. And Unify is actually web-based. So and Unify inherently is also in our cloud. So because Unify is a cloud product, as well as QuickBooks Online is a cloud product hosted by Intuit, you actually don't need right networks to host that interface because both of those areas are secure and you can access not only Unify but also QuickBooks Online through any browser anywhere. So that's a really good question, and thank you, Margaret, for that. Let's see. I have another question from Kevin, another Kevin here, and we're going to go back to the business intelligence thing. Those KPIs you talked about sounded really helpful. How do I calculate them? So now, you know, I was talking about a lot of applications, a lot of tools you use to give that business intelligence. We've actually just launched a new product called Highlight, which will do all that work for you. So, you know, I remember I mentioned particular reports that you can utilize in QuickBooks that can give you that intelligence in terms of how your information is scaling and where your business is going. Highlight will actually do all of that for you. You just connect all your platforms and it calculates the most important metrics for you and gives you that strategic guidance that you need to kind of address. Well, how am I scaling? What's my average order value? Who are my greatest repeat customers? What's my average value per customer? Things like that. So you can actually find more about Highlight at webgility.com/highlight. And Highlight is also in the cloud as well, so you can access that in any browser at any time and find out any information you need. All right. So I have another question, and this is going back to the hosted environment here. How long does it take to move my data to the hosted environment? I think this is a good one for you, Kevin.
Yeah, good question, good question. And it definitely depends, guys, on the size of the file. So I can't put like a uniform time on it, but it is not that extensive. So if you have a typical average size file, if we're talking a QuickBooks file, you know, it'll probably upload in maybe 5 to 10 minutes. We've seen larger files that might take, you know, closer to 20 to a half an hour. Those are very large files, though. So to any typical average business QuickBooks company file, you're roughly looking at 5 to 10 minutes. So it's again, pretty easy and relatively painless to get a user set up and actually go through the upload process. A lot of people get nervous about the migration process, and we've actually built in a 3-step little tool that scans the system for you, finds your QuickBooks company file, asks you if this is the one you want to bring up, you click yes, and it automatically uploads it up into the system. So it's a really slick little tool to kind of alleviate some of those concerns around migration. And again, it's done in 5 to 10 minutes, and you still have a copy of your file locally. So well, you have one in Right Networks, and that would be the one you would work in your live file. People know, and they have peace of mind that they can always back up their data on Right Networks and copy it back down, vice versa. So if they want to keep a copy locally for whatever reason, comfort reason, that's available too, and is also only about 5 or 10 minutes to download back and forth. So pretty fast.
Awesome. Thanks, Kevin. And I actually had no idea you guys built that really cool tool to detect the company file on the system. That's awesome. That's really amazing.
Yeah, thank you. It's funny. A lot of people don't know sometimes where those are stored, so it's good to actually, take that process and that step out of it so they don't have to search themselves and actually just scan and find the file. So it's a pretty neat little tool.
Exactly. Cool. Our last question here. I've got a question from Jay again. Do you cover inventory predictions and restock recommendations? This is a very, very intricate question. Which brings me to one of our tools that you can integrate with Unify Enterprise called LOCAD. LOCAD is a tool that actually takes in all the data from the previous 8 years when it first kind of starts looking at your company file and crunching those numbers. And going forward, it's able to take a snapshot of not only your inventory, but also your fluctuations. So you can time when you need to create certain purchase orders to your vendors, and it kind of helps to predict as to what is the inventory levels for restocking that you need to have in the future. So that is a really cool tool that you can utilize within Unify Enterprise. All right. So thank you very much, everyone, for attending. That about does it for our webinar. And thank you again, Kevin, for sharing your expertise.
No problem. Pleasure to be here. Thank you guys so much.
You can also register for any upcoming sessions and watch our on-demand webinars on our website at webgility.com. I'm Allegra Mitchell with Kevin, and this has been E-Commerce Juggling Made Easy. Have a great day.